Greetings everyone, welcome to Advance. This game was played in Chennai Chess Masters, and with the white pieces we have Ray Robson, and with the black pieces we have Vidit Gujrathi. For those of you who have been watching Chennai Chess Masters and who have been watching my chess channel, they know that yesterday I showed a game with Yodman Forest and Vidit Gujrathi. That was an absolute masterpiece, and I don't know what's gotten into with it. He's just creating absolute masterpieces on the board. So without further ado, let's start with this game. Here Ray Robson starts with d4, we have d5, knight to f3, knight to f6, and just e3. We have e6, knight bd2, c5, just b3, and here just knight bd7, just going for the cold system. We have knight bishop to b2, b6, and bishop to b5, and here bishop to b7, castles, and a6, just pushing the bishop back. We have bishop to d3, not trading early on, and here comes the very nice bishop to e7. We have a4, castles, and here queen to e2. Here knight to e4, rook a c1, and bishop to d6 was played. And here in this position you have to be very much careful. Do you just go here, or maybe you want to trade a couple maybe you want to trade not right now, because that would just lead to a loss of piece. Maybe you just want to push c5 and just claim the center. There are a lot of moves that can be played. Here rook f to d1 was played, but just c captures, and here after e captures we have bishop to f4. This bishop to f4 is such a beautiful move. I mean, when you realize it, you see, like, what is it doing? It's not doing anything in this position. But the fact is, what are you doing? After this bishop, it's going to be very much difficult to develop your pieces to anywhere. All of these squares are covered. First of all, this bishop is doing a very nice job, and if you want to push it off, you want to have to, just first actually push a move like g3 and just weaken your king side. And you have to understand this pin exists, and it will exist as long as you make some room for your king. You could go back, but that's just senseless. So here we have rook to a1. Ray Robson goes for the senseless idea. I mean, it's senseless to me because I'm a weaker rated opponent, but here definitely Ray Robson is much stronger, so he must have thought of something. Here f5, but here just knight to f1, but here just queen to f6, and here we have c4, but here queen to g6, and here just going for a very nice a5. We have d captures, b captures, and here just going for this b captures. And you might think, what is the idea here? Because the central pawns are very strong. With its bishops are absolute monsters here. Queen is here, knight is here, so he is actually going for a very nice attack in this position. But you have to understand that if your attack fails here, or if more pieces get traded off and you don't have any subsequent advantage, you have to understand that these pawns are going to be very strong, and that doubled a pawn is not doing anything. It's not going to be queening anytime soon. Here we have rook captures on a5, just grabbing a pawn, and we have rook f to d8, and here we have knight to g3, just putting extra pressure on that e4 square, and we have queen to h6, but very fine d4, striking immediately in the center. And here you might think, like, white is definitely better in this position, because well, he is the one who's taking the initiative to go for it, so he must have something in his mind. But unfortunately, white is not better in this position. The position looks absolutely draw, as you can see with our friend Engine here. It's a drawish line, but you have to understand, any person, if you ask them, they will take black in this position. Here knight to g4, but a very nice bishop caps on e4, just trading the pieces because it's getting too crowded here towards the king side. We have f captures, queen captures on e4, and just e captures. And this is such a beautiful idea, because here after c captures there are so many lines. You could go for development of the rook. You would have amazing control of these files. Queen is already threatening mate here, and the only thing here in this position is, and just to show you how rich the position is, I mean, this is not at all the best move, but here you could even go for bishop captures, and here after h captures you go for a very nice queen sacrifice with queen to h1, and after king captures, the very nice royal fork. And that's how rich the position is. Once wherever the king moves, once you capture that, and the white does get this pass pawn, but here you have a very nice counterplay, but definitely not something you want to do. You want to keep building on the pressure until your opponent cracks. But here after c captures, we have a very beautiful move that could have been played in this position, was knight captures on f2. And this is such a beautiful idea, because here after king captures you have rook a to e8, and now what do? You have to play this knight to f5, attacking the queen, and while your own queen is being attacked. So here you have to trade queens. Rook captures, we have knight captures, and here after bishop captures you play rook to a3. The rook to a3 is a very important move to play in this position. And here after bishop to f4, now you go for this rook to b3, bishop to c8, but now just comes this g3. You want to be able to play this g3, but you understand this is an issue, so that's why this rook to b3 comes in handy. And here after bishop to h6, now you just ask for rook trade, rook captures, and king can move as well. So we have this knight a5, knight to e5, and here just g6, and both players are going to have very fine games, with black having a pass pawn on the a file and white having a pass pawn on the d file. So it's going to be a draw, but still it's just very difficult to play this position, especially for white. I mean, it's not the way you would imagine to play with the white pieces, because you understand black still has the bishop pair, so it's going to be difficult. But here after c captures on d5, Vidit doesn't go for it. Vidit goes for a less forcing line. He goes for this rook a to e8, and everything is still in the air. This is the second best move. But here after queen to c4, and this is the top top defensive resource. And you have to understand that Ray Robson here was like 7 minutes on the clock, and Vidit Gujrathi was 17 minutes on the clock. So he had way much time than him, and he had calculated it all. And he was just relaxing on his chair, and you could see with the body language that he knew that he had this in the bag. But here rook to c8 was played, attacking the queen. Rook to c5, and here just going for this knight to e3. This knight to e3 was was a very very fine resource that Vidit had in this position. Rook captures, and here knight captures, and here just rook captures. And here in this position, Vidit plays absolutely uh, accuracy, because here after queen to b6 was played, and attacking the bishop here, and also going for some some threats here, so here just bishop caps on g7. This is the only resource that you have in this position. You had to find it, and Ray Robson, I think, found it with 3 minutes on the clock. That's absolutely insane. You play queen to b3 now, attacking the rook, and here in this position, Ray Robson went for bishop caps on f8. Queen captures, and here after bishop to e7, now you play this bishop caps on d5. So the position is that you have like, if you consider three pieces for a queen to be good enough, then you are at least a piece short here in this position. So black is definitely better. And here after knight to h5, you have to understand, you have to play this queen to c2 in this position. You have to. It's a must. It's the only winning move. And here after rook to a1, you play this bishop to c1, and now once the bishop moves, now you play bishop to b4, just trying to not get checkmated. And here after this bishop caps on f3, g captures. Now you play this queen to b2, attacking both the bishop and the rook. So after rook captures, you play and you capture the capture the bishop, and this position is just a few moves away from crumbling. Let's say you play this bishop to e3, now comes f captures, queen check, and here just queen check, and here after this you just pick up the rook. It's completely winning afterwards. But here after knight to h5, Vidit thought it was okay to capture it now, and he went for bishop captures on f3. But he never even realized what could possibly follow, because here g captures. This is what I mean by, you don't ever want to give your opponent too much, because three pieces sometimes can be a lot insane when your king is stuck between them. Because here bishop to e5 was played, but now comes bishop to f6, and here bishop to c7, rook to d7, and here queen to c1 check, king to g2, queen to c5, and here just rook to g7 check, king moves, and here the rook caps on h7, just grabbing a pawn, bishop to d6. Vidit is still better in this position, or still was better before he played this bishop to d6. But here knight to g3, and for Vidit to win in this position, all he has to do is just grab this and just push his pass pawn. I mean, it doesn't get any simpler than this, but it's so complicated that maybe, just maybe, you can just continue to keep on checking the king, and maybe just white will have a draw, but it's going to be a very very difficult draw. But again, Vidit Gujrathi thought that maybe he he would be better off with having a piece than a queen and two rooks in the game. He was very much down on the clock. I think both were like 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes, and it's very much difficult to play then. But here you have to understand, all of those defensive resource Ray Robson found in 7 minutes on the clock. So this is the thing with very strong players. They find these moves so quickly that it's just very impossible to beat them, even in a better position. And here queen to d5 was played, but now this just doesn't work. Here knight to e4, but just now you understand the problem, because your king might get checkmated. Here bishop to b4, bishop to g7 check, king to f7, and here bishop to c3 check, king to g6, and here just going for king to h6, rook to h7, king to g6, and rook to g7 check, king to h6, and here knight to f6 was played, queen to c4, and here just knight to g4 check. And and there are a lot of checkmating ideas in this position. You could also go for this, also go for this. I mean, this is just very dangerous territory. Here bishop to f6 was played, and no matter what you do, here you're very very close to a checkmate. But here in this position, Ray Robson was down to 18 seconds on the clock, and that is when I was watching, I was just thinking, I don't know why with this taking time with his moves, because there are only few moves you can play. You can either play this, or you can either play this, or you can play this, and they're not if you play it fast, you may have a better chance of flagging your opponent. I know it sounds nasty, but that's what you have to do. Okay, there is no other way to actually win this, and when you play it so well, you do want to win, and you don't want a crushing defeat like this, getting checkmated by three pieces when your queen is watching. This is not the way you want it to go. But I think Vidit could have really flagged if he had played faster. But hey, just queen to c1 was played by him, but he took his time. h4, bishop to d2, and hey, just bishop to e7, queen to a1, knight to f6 check, king moves, and hey, just going for rook to g8. And now it's actually very much hopeless, because you can see that all of these squares are covered. And I mean, how are you ever escaping this? Bishop to b4 was played. Now, just sacrificing a complete bishop to not get checkmated, but it's actually a mate in 10 moves. Here, h5 was played by the Ray Robson, and it was on this move, on just move 54, that Vidit Gujrathi resigned the game because there is nothing to be done. Let's say you try something here, queen caps on f6, but here after bishop captures, now you play king caps on h5, but here after f4, bishop to e7, bishop caps h6, and after f5, and just to give you an idea, you're going to get checkmated in a few more moves, so there was no point. So yeah, that's why he resigned here after h5, and a spectacular play by Ray Robson. I mean, those defensive resources he found in less than 7 minutes on the clock is absolutely stunning. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with games like these, so stay tuned to the channel, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you all.